Welcome to our exploration of a contentious issue. Is overpopulation truly a climate problem, or is it being used as a justification for control? In today's video, we'll dissect the complex relationship between population dynamics and climate change, highlighting how factors like wealth inequality and consumption patterns play a significant role in emissions. We'll also delve into the impact of corporate practices, technological advancements, and the implications of population control policies on human rights, all while questioning narratives that may scapegoat developing nations. Join us as we unpack the intertwining threads of ecology, society, and ethics in this critical discussion. 1. Wealth inequality drives emissions. The wealthiest 10% of the global population contribute over 50% of carbon emissions, while the poorest 50% account for just 10%. This stark contrast highlights an often overlooked aspect of the climate debate: inequality in consumption and emissions. The lifestyles of the affluent are resource-heavy, demanding more energy and producing more waste. Despite this, narratives around overpopulation often fail to address the disproportionate impact of wealthy individuals and nations. Instead, they focus on rising numbers in low-income areas that contribute minimally to emissions. This imbalance in responsibility underscores the need for a more nuanced understanding of climate contributors. 2. Consumption, not population. Studies suggest that unsustainable consumption patterns in developed nations are far more significant contributors to climate change than population growth in developing countries. The focus on population growth diverts attention from the consumer habits that drive environmental degradation. Developed nations, with their high energy demands and waste production, play a more significant role in climate change. Yet, the rhetoric around overpopulation often paints rising populations in developing regions as the primary threat. This misdirection can hinder efforts to address the real issues: consumption and waste in affluent societies. 3. Carbon footprint by country. Countries with the highest population growth rates often have the smallest per capita carbon footprints. In contrast, developed nations with stable or declining populations have disproportionately high emissions. This paradox highlights the complexities within the climate debate. High population growth does not necessarily equate to high emissions, as seen in countries with burgeoning populations but minimal industrial activity. Meanwhile, industrialized nations with smaller populations continue to produce significant emissions due to their consumption-driven economies. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for formulating effective climate policies. 4. Corporate emissions dominate. A report revealed that just 100 companies are responsible for over 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions. This statistic underscores the role of systemic industrial practices in driving climate change. Corporate emissions, often overlooked in population-focused narratives, play a pivotal role in environmental degradation. Large industries, through energy-intensive processes and unsustainable practices, contribute significantly to global emissions. By concentrating on population numbers, the accountability of these corporations is diminished, diverting attention from necessary industrial reforms. 5. Technological advances reduce impact. Advances in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and waste management have the potential to offset the environmental impact of population growth if implemented globally. Technology offers solutions that can mitigate the pressures of a growing population. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind can reduce reliance on fossil fuels, while sustainable agriculture practices can increase food production with less environmental impact. These innovations highlight the potential for technology to aid in solving climate issues, shifting the focus from population numbers to sustainable practices. 6. Population control policies and human rights. Historical population control policies, such as China's one-child policy, have often led to human rights violations. These policies raise concerns about the ethical implications of linking population control to climate action. While intended to curb population growth, such measures often infringe on individual rights and freedoms. The association of population control with climate solutions risks repeating past mistakes. Ethical considerations must guide climate strategies to avoid sacrificing human rights for perceived environmental benefits. 7. Urbanization reduces resource use. Urban living is generally more resource efficient than rural living. Cities concentrate populations and reduce the per capita energy and resource use needed for transportation and infrastructure. Urbanization offers opportunities for more sustainable living through shared resources and efficient public transport systems. While overpopulation narratives often highlight rural population growth, urban areas provide models for reducing environmental impact. Encouraging sustainable urban development can contribute to climate solutions without focusing solely on population control. 8. Scapegoating developing nations. Overpopulation arguments often target developing countries, ignoring the role of historical emissions from industrialized nations. This scapegoating perpetuates inequitable climate narratives. Developing countries, despite their population growth, contribute minimally to global emissions compared to industrialized nations with a history of high carbon outputs. The focus on these regions shifts the narrative away from the responsibility of developed countries to address their historical and ongoing environmental impacts. 9. Ecofascism and control agendas. Overpopulation rhetoric has been linked to ecofascism, a belief system that prioritizes environmental protection over human rights. This ideology often advocates for authoritarian control measures, using environmental concerns as justification. The association of overpopulation with climate issues can fuel these agendas, promoting restrictive policies under the guise of environmental necessity. Recognizing and challenging these narratives is essential to ensure climate strategies uphold human rights and democratic values. 10. Population stabilization trends. Global population growth is already slowing, with projections showing that the world population may peak by 2100. This trend reduces the urgency of overpopulation as a climate concern. As birth rates decline and populations stabilize, the emphasis should shift toward addressing consumption patterns and corporate practices. The slowing growth highlights the need for a balanced approach that considers demographic trends alongside environmental challenges.